Today I'm working on a wall book and I've done some cutting and some gluing, and now there are a few things I have to repair before I move on. So let's take a look. Here's my book so far. This side is pretty simple, it's just glued in. And then I have the center section that is going to end up being rolled later. And then I have the section that I cut. And it sort of looks like my dog gnawed this out. The cutting is really uneven. I glued it at the wrong time, and my cutting wasn't as precise as it could have been. And you can see right here, I totally misjudged how much the book was rolling. So I started cutting along the, here, let me see, along the edge of the printing. And as I kept cutting, it kept getting closer and closer to the spine. So close that I had to stop and adjust. And you can see that these pages are blank right here because as the book rolls out, the edge of the printing moves further and further out. So really what I needed to do is either angle my cut the way the outer edge is angled, or cut further in and just accept that the pages on the top we're going to have printing on them along this edge. And that would be okay because when I do this and roll this page, it's going to cover up that section. But I wasn't thinking ahead, so I kind of messed this up. So what I did was I cut some pieces of foam core, and I'm gluing them together with glue stick just to hold them temporarily while I get everything glued into the book. And then I'm gonna sort of stick this in along this edge right here. Oops, don't want glue on the book. Just going to press this in right here, and I've already done a test fit, so I know this is going to fit. And there's still a little gap right here, but that's okay because I think what I'm going to do is cover this up with some paper that rolls all the way around so that this is all covered up. And then I'm going to do this, and that's going to cover it up even more. And I think I'm going to do some funky stuff in here. The uneven cutting along here and along here, I'm not going to worry about because I'm going to put stuff in here that's going to cover it up. And I'm thinking that it's going to be 2 rows of bottles. I'm going to build a shelf in here at some point and put in another row of bottles. So by the time I get all the stuff in here, I don't think anyone is going to be looking at my bad cutting job. So here's the strip of paper that I'm going to put in right here. It's cut from a blank book page that I pulled out while I was doing the other structural stuff because I knew I would use it to do some repairs and also to build the shelf that I'm going to put in. So I'm just going to slather this with some glue stick. And then put this in. And it's not perfect, but it'll cover up the mess. And then when I do this, the pressure of the other pages will cause this to roll over and cover up even more. And I'm going to put bottles in here, and that will help cover it up too. So it's not quite as awful as it was when it was just badly cut pages. Here's the result of all my fixing and hiding. You can see tucked under here the repaired area that I created, and it's really well hidden by this rolled section that I added. And I think probably after I get everything laid in and positioned where I want it, I'll add a line of glue so that this can't be lifted, which will help make that hiding permanent. And I also added a little shelf. It's just a strip of foam core that has been wrapped in some bare book page and then glued in. And it's not actually going to support any weight, because generally when I add these little items, I glue them so that they're attached to the shelf but also attached to the back. I add a line of glue along the back to help support them. So my next thing is to figure out what goes into all of these areas and all these bottles, and to decorate the book.